One of the most frequent topics requested in the area of leadership development is time management. Actually, time management is a misnomer because you really can't manage time. Time is a series of events that happen one after the other, whether we do anything about them or not. And control is managing, managing things or people. And so when we can control the events that are happening one after the other toward our goals, we are effectively managing our time, but more correctly, we are controlling our time. So here are 5 things that you can do to have better control of your time, to reduce your stress, to reduce your tension, to get more done. Number 1 is have a daily plan every day. Daily planning is key. And write your plan before your day begins, preferably the night before, either at the end of your work day, the day before, or before you go to bed at night, because that helps you sleep better, it reduces stress, and you start the workday with a lot of momentum, and you get off to a fast start. So if you want to sleep better, if you want to have less stress, plan the next day's activity today, by either at the end of the day or before you go to bed. Number 2 is write everything down. Writing crystallizes thought, and crystallized thought motivates action. And so when you write things down, it's like a brain dump, and it also reduces stress. That you get it out of your head and you quit thinking about it. You can peacefully enjoy your family or recreational activities or whatever else you do at the end of the workday without thinking about what you need to do tomorrow. And as things pop in your head, add to the list, but write it down. Writing crystallizes thought, and crystallized thought motivates action. Number 3 is categorize your tasks. Now, this is going to be different for different people, but some of the general categories could include appointments, calls, email, text, projects, errands, personal, and many other categories. Use categories that make sense for you, and then you can lump them together. For example, you can make a bunch of phone calls back to back to back, or send a bunch of emails back to back to back, and you can get on a roll, get a rhythm going. Same thing, you can do the personal during a break or during lunchtime or before work or after work, and the same thing with errands. And then assign a specific project, and if you use uninterrupted time for a project, you're going to get a lot more done. You're going to be a lot more productive. Tony Schwartz, in the book The Way We're Working Isn't Working, talks about the fact that when we have the nose to the grindstone, shoulder to the wheel, and we go grind, grind, grind all day long, that we don't get as much done as if we'll, our body tends to run in 60 to 90 minute cycles. And if we don't fight those cycles, then we go with it. And so having, working on a project for 20, 30, 40 minutes at a time, and then taking a short break, you're just going to be a lot better off. So number 3, categorize your tasks. And then number 4 is the biggie, is that's where you prioritize. And most experts will tell you that during a day, we're going to have urgent things. Those are the things that absolutely have to be done today. Perhaps it's a scheduled appointment or someone that you might need to meet with as a result of a project deadline or what have you. There are things that absolutely have to be done during that day, the day that you're planning for. So those are urgent. And then the next the next would be important. Those are things that you really need to get done and will have long-term impact, but they take a second place to those that are urgent. And then the rest of the time are nice to do's, or when I get a chance, or what have you. Now, the nice to do or the when I get a chance thing can be used as fill-in, either when you have an unanticipated waiting time or what have you. Now, here's a system that really it can be powerful when used effectively. Number 1 is take all of your urgent items and list them as A's. Put an A beside each urgent item, and then figure out which of the urgent items you need to do first, and rate that A1, and second A2, third A3, etc. Hopefully you don't have too many urgent items in any given day. And then you take the important items and use a B, and you figure out which one of the B items that you need to do first after you've accomplished the urgent items, and that's B1, next most important B2, next most important B3, etc. and then everything else can be a C. And if you have too many items on a C list, perhaps you even want to set them aside, put them on a separate folder, put them in a subfolder within your electronic device or wherever you might be, but out of sight, out of mind type of thing. And then when you start the day, you start on A1 and you keep going until you finish A1. If you get blocked on A1, you make a little note of some type of why you're blocked and what you need to keep going. And then you go to A2, A3, etc. When you get unblocked on A1, you go back and you finish it. And then after you finish all your urgent tasks, then you go to B1, B2, B3. So try that, more than just a day or two. Try it for a week or two. And I think you'll find it's powerful, and you'll find yourself getting a whole lot more done without being frustrated. And then number 5 is a close correlation to the prioritization. What gets scheduled gets done. Hopefully when you schedule a dentist appointment, a doctor's appointment, appointment with an employee, appointment with your boss, appointment with a client, that you show up and you honor that appointment. You make a commitment and you follow through on that commitment. Likewise, schedule important things that you need to get done during the day, because what gets scheduled gets done. And at the same time, if you're on the phone call, in a Zoom meeting, on a conference call, at a doctor's appointment, what have you, you obviously don't take phone calls, you don't take texts, you don't respond to emails, what have you, because you are otherwise occupied. You can do the same thing with a commitment that you make to a project or other deadline. And when someone tries to interrupt you, you let them know that you have a commitment. You don't need to tell them what that commitment is. You currently have a commitment that you need to attend to, and you'll get back to them at whatever time that you can tell them. So it'll reduce interruptions. It'll ensure that you get things done, and it'll and at the same time, what'll happen is the person that wanted to interrupt you, then perhaps has a question for you, perhaps it's someone that reports to you, a lot of times they'll figure out how to handle it themselves, and it'll be a form of personal development for them. So number 1, plan the day before, plan your day. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, categorize it into categories that make sense for you. Number 4, use a prioritization system that makes sense for you. And then number 5, schedule important items in specific time blocks. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.